Hey, Brian from Snow Walker Outdoors. So today we're in the boatyard. We're getting our canoes ready for the upcoming canoe season. A little behind the eight ball, but I've been using the pack. Now we're going to get the bigger canoes ready to go. I'm going to show you some easy tips. Keep your canoes in good working order and make sure that they last a long time. Don't go away. If you're like most of us, we keep our canoes on racks, keep them up off the ground. It's just better for them. It's better for the components, especially if you have cane seats. You know, over time the cane will start to retain moisture. They'll rot out eventually, and that's no good because then you got to replace the seat. We've already seen that this year, that I've replaced the pack, and I like using the webbing better anyway, so that was a while coming. So this is my rack. It's good enough to hold 6 canoes or a combination of canoes and kayaks. Taking a look at the fleet, we got 2 Old Town campers, and then we have my Swift Prospector, and of course you've seen the Old Town pack. Now most of these canoes, if you go to buy an Old Town Royalex canoe right now, they're going to charge you a pretty penny because they don't make Royalex anymore, and it was pretty much a bomb-proof material that they made their canoes from, when Old Town really did give a damn about their canoes. And they weren't owned by Johnson Sporting Goods now. So their claim to fame with those is that they could be relatively popped back into shape, and they were pretty indestructible, and you could go and hit rocks. We don't want to hit rocks, but if you do, basically the canoe would pop right off it. So all of them have been in storage for the winter, and you can see there's some debris in there. And we're going to sweep that debris out. Well, once you get it swept out, I love this. Just go to the dollar store and get this big dusty thing. This will take out the rest of the cobwebs and everything else that may be lodged in there. If you take a look. Look at all that extra stuff that actually got pulled out. So that's a good thing. Things that we want to do now after we get it all swept out is we want to go through everything that's on the inside of the boat that's connected with a nut or bolt or anything else, or rivet. We want to look at these things. We want to see if there's anything loose. We want to see if there's anything that has been cut or damaged. We want to look at the wood, and we want to make sure that the wood is still intact. It hasn't gotten soft. Maybe some of the varnish needs to be redone to bring it up to snuff. We can get under there with a mirror as well, and we can look underneath. Now, if you come up here to the yoke, right, you notice a little bit of discolorization. Now, of course, that's old. All right, this is an old boat, but then you start to go through your yoke, and you can see that this is going to take a beating, especially if you're going to do portaging and things of that nature. So, you know, honestly, it's not too bad. Does it warrant maybe, you know, adding another coat of varnish? Sure it does. Will I? Probably. If I get to it this year, great. If not, I get to it before I put it away for the year. All right, I'm going to move up to the thwart. Again, I check my screws, my nuts, my bolts, everything that's there. Make sure this is nice and tight. Come to the back seat. Again, same thing. You're checking your nuts and your bolts, your screws, making sure that the webbing and whatnot is intact and hasn't been cut. And then again, when we go to this deck plate here, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rivets. You want to make sure those rivets are there and intact. If not, you'll have to replace them. Now we're just going to wash it out, wash down the entirety of the interior, and then we're going to flip it over and we're going to wash the outside. I don't do anything really harsh. I don't use harsh cleaners. I like to use Simple Green. If I didn't use that, I'd use Dawn. Just a little bit, goes a long way. And you're just basically cleaning it, and I'm going to show you what we put on it after the fact. As far as the bottom of the canoe, what I mean by the bottom, I mean the interior of the bottom. We don't really have to worry about that. I mean, come on folks, it's a canoe, it's going to go in the water. We just want to get out the dirt, the dust, the cobwebs. The really important spot is tucked up underneath the deck plates, whether it be in the stern or the bow. Because when the canoe is upside down, that's where the chipmunks and the mice like to go, and they like to make houses in there. That's the part that we really, really want to clean. We want to clean everything out. We don't want anything left up in there. And that's the really important place. Okay, once you are done scrubbing down the outside, again, you're going to be looking for all the rivets that are basically holding the gunnels to the top of the form of the canoe itself. You're going to be looking for any gouges that may need to be repaired. Maybe you had a split, maybe you got a crack, maybe you got a frost crack. You know, if it gets really cold, if you're at a cold climb and your canoes are stored outside, sometimes they will crack. Or if a branch comes down and hits it, they'll crack as well. You want to look over everything, and once everything is clean, addressed any issues that may be that may have come up, you're just going to let it sit and dry and move on to your next boat. And I'm going to do that now, and then when we get all done, I'll show you how we treat the outside of it. I think you can see the difference right now. I wanted to show that to you. You can see where it's faded out. It gets that way, folks. I mean, you know, that's why I try to keep my canoes covered most of the year when they're not in use. Sun causes a lot of damage. I know guys, they just leave their canoes out all year long and they don't really care, but you know, the sun causes damage, and as far as I'm concerned, the more that we can keep them out of the sun, the better off we are. So one of the protectants that I actually use is 303 protectant, UV protection, and I will apply this 2-3 times a year. It brings back the color as much as it can be, and actually helps protect it, and that's what I'm going to use. And I'll show you the entire canoe when it gets all done. And so there you have it. It's all covered in Protectant 303. And this one is definitely ready for the water. So all the canoes are basically done, and they are clean, they are protected, and they are ready for the water. Again, little things, maybe taking out a yoke, taking out a thwart, and adding some spar varnish to it, marine spar varnish. It's the least of my worries at this time. There's no holes, there's no cracks, there's no damage. Every single one of these will float, and there is no leaks, and they're all paddle worthy at this time. Just remember, take care of your gear, and your gear is going to take care of you in the long run. This boat, the blue camper, this is 1989. This boat was built and it's still going strong. That one there is a 1994 Old Town camper. That one's still going strong. The Swift is a newer one, obviously. That's my Kevlar and carbon prospector. So I expect to have that one for quite a long time. Anyway, I'm going to sit back, kick back. I'm going to have me an adult beverage. We'll see you on the next one.